Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're ready for some creepy videos. Today we have something a little bit different. It's not going to be ghost videos today. It's going to be some true crime videos. Now, it's been a minute since I reacted to this content creator's videos, but this is a YouTube channel known as Chilling Scares. After that, we'll be watching 2 more Backrooms videos, so I hope you have your snacks. And as always, let's get scared together.
On January 8th, 2005, a man named Martin discovered a mysterious package in his mailbox. Confused, he brought it inside and opened it up.
Okay.
Inside the package was a single item, a videotape with no label or note to explain its contents. Curious to see what was on it, he put it in his camcorder and pressed play, and the footage he found on it was shocking to say the least. It contained a nearly hour-long video of a man describing the violent things he was about to do, how he was going to lure his victims, and the makeshift devices he was going to use.
Wait.
I'm not sure.
Okay. I haven't seen this particular video, but I do know about this. Because I watch a lot of true crime. I listen to a lot of true crime.
Trained in torture methods, which is what I'm gonna have to make do. I got my drill here.
Yeah, I remember this. Plenty of people who go over true crime definitely talked about this case.
The reason why it's got this padding on it is just to try to silence it a bit, because I'm in an apartment. I got gags, socks, got lots of duct tape. I got a soldering iron, sheets.
Bruh.
Rather crude implements, I think can work wonders, especially if it's used in the right way.
However, while the content itself was extremely grim, what disturbed Martin more was the fact that he personally knew the person on screen. This wasn't the manifesto of a serial killer planning to take innocent lives. Instead, it was the final message of Martin's close friend, Ricky Rodriguez, a man who was tormented by a cult from the moment he was born. He eventually managed to escape the cult and was now planning to take revenge on the people who did unspeakable things to him for—
Right, okay. Yeah, this is bringing back memories of when I did listen to this, because like I said, this case has been covered multiple times on multiple people's channels. Yeah, this is very disturbing.
For all those years. He recorded this hour-long video and mailed it to his few friends and family so they would find it and have all the answers about what he was about to do and why.
I'm making this video, well, for many reasons, I guess. I suppose the main reason is that I want there to be some record of the way I feel, my ideas.
Dang, bruh.
Just who I was, really.
Ricky's story began 30 years earlier on January 25, 1975, when he was born as the first child of Karen Alva Zerby.
Okay.
Karen was a member of a cult called the Children of God, which used Christian language to lure in young, impressionable minds, often teenagers, and molded them to its sick and perverse ideals. 2 years after Ricky's birth, he was adopted by the cult's leader, David Burke, who presented himself as the Chosen One.
Disgusting.
David changed the cult's name to The Family and declared Ricky to be a religious herald, granting him a special position in the organization. However, while he was treated like royalty by the other members on the surface, behind closed doors, Ricky was the victim of vile acts no child should ever have to endure. David not only encouraged these acts, but went as far as to write a whole book about everything he and his followers did to Ricky, called The Story of DeVito. This abuse continued for many years, but as Ricky got older, he became aware of David's lies and manipulation. Then, in 1999, he finally managed to escape the cult with his girlfriend Alexia Manuel by faking a visit to the cult's compound in Mexico and fleeing to the US instead. Reintegration into society after 24 years in an isolated cult was anything but simple. But Ricky somehow managed to pull through and secure a job as an electrician. He also married Alexia and later moved to Tucson, Arizona due to his work. Unfortunately, no matter how hard he tried to move forward, the nightmare he escaped continued to haunt him.
Yeah, because that's 24 years, bro. That's very, very sad. Very, very disturbing.
David had passed away in 1994, and the cult was now under the supervision of Karen Zerbe, Ricky's mother. And while the cult had managed to escape legal repercussions by mainly operating overseas, Ricky knew that there were still countless children suffering the same fate as him. So, in January of 2005, he decided enough was enough and took matters into his own hands. Which brings us back to the video he recorded and then mailed to a handful of close friends and his wife. In it, Ricky mentioned his ultimate goal, which was to bring down the cult all on his own. Beyond that, a part of this was also about getting revenge for everything that was done to him.
There's this need that I have. This need, it's not a want, it's a need, and I wish it wasn't, but it is. It's a need for revenge. It's a need for justice. Because I can't.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can you blame him? Like 24 years is a long time, man. A long freaking time. I don't blame him. I really don't.
Go on like this.
In this video, he also laid out his plan for accomplishing this goal. He'd apparently gotten in contact with his previous nanny, Angela Smith, who was among the group that tormented him during his time in the cult.
Wow.
He was going to invite her over for dinner at his apartment in Tucson and make her tell everything she knew about the other members' whereabouts by any means necessary. And that's exactly what he did. On January 8th, after mailing copies of his recording, he invited Angela into his home and proceeded with the plan. It's unclear what information he managed to extract from her before taking her life. He then got into his car and drove to Blythe, California. There, he rented a motel and called his wife to tell her about what he had done and what he was going to do next.
Bruh.
However, despite the meticulous planning, Ricky ultimately couldn't follow through with the rest of his plan. On the morning of January 9th, authorities found his car in a parking lot just a few miles from the hotel he was staying at. Ricky was found inside the car as well, where he had taken his own life. And while this was tragic news for his loved ones, it was hardly surprising for his wife. You see, Ricky believed that killing the cultists would bring him peace, something he reiterated in his last video.
I can imagine how I would feel. How liberating it would be.
But that's not what happened. During his call with his wife, he confessed that despite his anger and resentment, killing Angela was the hardest thing he had ever done. Taking revenge didn't bring the comfort he was looking for. He couldn't bring himself to take any more lives and decided to end it all that night, leaving his friends and family with this hour-long video to remember him by. As for the family cult, it remains active to this day under the leadership of his mother.
Jesus Christ, man. That is, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that one. Like, I knew about that case, but it's been a minute since I heard about it. But yeah, it's still pretty disturbing to this day.
October 4th, 2006, at approximately 6:15 a.m., the Barrie Police Department received a chilling call from a woman saying, "My children are dead," in a calm and quiet voice. The disconnect between her tone and the situation she was describing was extremely unsettling. When asked what happened, she replied, "I don't know, I don't remember."
What you mean?
Police officers immediately rushed to the address she provided and knocked on the door of her apartment, bracing for what they might find. The door opened and they were greeted by 31-year-old Frances Elaine Campione.
Okay.
When the officers asked her about the children she mentioned on her call, she replied in the same disturbingly calm voice, stating, "Yes, they're dead. They're on my bed." As the officers entered the master bedroom, he saw the remains of two little girls, 3-year-old Serena and 19-month-old Sophia, lying on the bed. Both were dressed in clean clothes and were also wearing necklaces and earrings. However, their skin...
Are you serious, bro? See, I watch true crime and I listen to true crime, but like, recording for true crime is just crazy. Like, this is why I do ghost videos. But holy, bro. I mean, I'll definitely do true crime for that channel. Like, I like Chilling Scares. I like his, you know, his commentary. He does like massive research on it, so I like his channel. But Jesus Christ, man.
Skin was starting to turn blue, suggesting they might have been deceased for quite over. Both were dressed in clean clothes and were also wearing necklaces and earrings. However, their skin was starting to turn blue, suggesting they might have been deceased for quite some time. One of the officers also noticed a small bruise on Sophia's forehead, and that was it. There was nothing else in the room that could have explained their deaths. But as the investigators looked through Elaine's apartment, they found a camcorder with footage that explained everything. The recording started on a wholesome note, showing Elaine surprising Serena with a new bike on her 3rd birthday on August 8th.
Hi Serena, it's August 8th, 2006. Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday Serena, happy birthday to you.
So what happened?
Serena's 3 today, yay!
I mean, I know what happens, but like,
shall we go to the living room and see if you've got
how
any
does this
birthday
go so
presents
bad?
from the birthday fairies? Yes! Okay, let's go.
How does this go so wrong?
What is it?
It's a bike!
The next video also showed Elaine and her 2 daughters just hanging around and having fun.
I love you.
This much.
Oh, I love you more than that.
So far, everything looked quite normal.
Right.
However, the 3rd recording, dated October 2nd, was when things started to get weird. The tone of the recordings instantly changed as Elaine suddenly went on and on
That's
about their
her?
horrible living conditions and the torment her ex-husband Leo and his family had put her through, said all in front of her children.
You can't see through the camera, boo-hoo. Oh, yes, this is a deplorable, horrible, messy, filthy apartment that supposedly my 2 children and I live in, and it's just a horrible, horrible mess. Yeah. I think Diego Campione is totally in the wrong, and I hope he burns in hell for all his sins, the same as Leonardo. All I wanted to do was take care of my 2 little girls and live happily ever after the 3 years of physical, emotional, and mental abuse that I endured tremendously by Leonardo Campione, and in the past year from Anna and Diego Campione, the mental and emotional abuse, which wouldn't stop, and I had CAS keep bringing these 2 people into my life over and over again when I kept telling them the amount of mental and emotional abuse it was causing my 3-year-old daughter Serena and I and Sophia. It was horrible and uncalled for, and I want justice to my family for what they have all done to us. I cried out for help. They should have.
Leo was apparently extremely abusive, both physically and mentally.
Wow.
He prevented her from contacting her parents, and at one point even kicked her in her stomach while she was pregnant.
Wow,
This resulted in
dude.
Leo getting charged with domestic violence, and the 2 getting divorced. However, at the time of this recording, Leo was starting to turn things around, and was engaged in a legal battle with Elaine over the custody of their daughters. This took an immense toll on Elaine's mental health. She was already quite unstable and had been to the psych ward twice in the past couple of years. But
Jeez,
according to her
man.
mother, the custody battle caused her to lose it completely and develop severe paranoia. She became worried that Leo would one day show up and forcibly take her daughters away. Then, on October 2nd, after ending this recording at 8:39 p.m., Elaine did the unthinkable by taking the lives of her own daughters, then recording a haunting confession that investigators discovered on the same camera.
No way you show it. Oh my.
Recording this because Leo and there. Are you happy? Everything's gone. You wouldn't give peace. You wouldn't tell the truth. I begged. You even let Stacy not believing me, telling her I had to sign papers when I didn't. I went to victim witness to get the truth. Trying, begging everyone the truth. How you beat me 3 years behind closed doors. Beat me when I was pregnant with Serena and Sophia. You didn't care about our babies. You didn't care about me. You care about yourself. You wanted to win. You won. Are you happy? How does it make you feel? How does it make you feel?
Wow. Oh man. Yeah, chilling scares. You weren't lying when you said 5 most disturbing cases of real found footage.
Does it make me feel great? I've lost everything.
At this point, the camera cut to a later point
Wow.
where Elaine attempted to take her own.
Oh my.
That means the remodeling time at the Aurelia and Braintree stores. They are changing the displays. Now is the time to make a great deal on an Ontario-made hydro-cooled hot tub. In stock models, full model, or custom orders, everything has a sale price. Pool Spa Sauna Showroom.
Oh my.
In Aurelia, Grace Bridget, soon to be in Huntsville. You can also check them out on the web at poolspasaunashowroom.com. Throw some light on conservative.
Elaine was arrested on the spot and was later charged with murder, with the found footage in her home serving as crucial evidence against her. She was ultimately sentenced to life in prison with
I'll let him finish.
the possibility of parole after 25 years.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is tough, bruh. That is tough. Again, I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. That is a very sad case, honestly.
Years ago, the Bureau of Land Management published a public service announcement dubbed Stay Out and Stay Alive, educating viewers about the
Okay.
countless dangers of exploring abandoned mines, including the very real risk of cave-ins, volatile explosives, wild animals,
That's
and
fair.
entire sections without oxygen.
Yeah, no, that's
However,
fair.
the most chilling part of the video was the story and the accompanying found footage of an accident that had occurred years earlier. On
God.
July 4th, 1998, a group of young men found an abandoned mine in Nevada and decided to explore it for fun. Though, surprisingly, the boys seemed acutely aware of the mistake they were making right from the start.
As you see Briz pointing out, stay alive. It's a good point, but we're not too smart, so we're gonna go anyway.
This is an unsafe mine. Danger.
Yet, the allure of exploring a place untouched for decades was too tempting for them to ignore. However, the deeper they went into the mine, the more dangerous it became, with the boys walking over sketchy wooden bridges to continue their journey.
Nah, I'm
They
good,
even
bro.
found signs of the mine caving in, but chose to ignore those signs just to venture deeper.
If you look at all this, there's lots of rocks and stuff that have fallen from the ceiling, which indicates that probably a good idea to be walking this way. And
Well, they've already fallen, so they're not gonna fall again.
well, there's
This
more
is
to
like
fall
a
still.
scary movie,
An
bruh.
important thing to keep in mind is that these weren't professionals with prior experience of safely exploring abandoned mines.
It's like a found footage film. I mean, this is all still very sad, but yeah, this is like a found footage like film.
This was just a group of boys looking to do something cool and film the adventure. They could have easily plunged to their deaths down a 1,000-foot mine shaft or gotten lost in the miles-long maze of tunnels,
Right.
which started looking more and more likely as time went on.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we gotta remember where we're. Okay, we got out here.
Who painted these X's and stuff? Grant. What do they mean? Dead ends and stuff. Okay, they're all got an X on them. Well, there you go this way. That one's got an X. But it's also got that. What does the diamond mean?
Where's that go?
Wait, what?
Down.
Along there.
Ooh, that's not a little. Well, it'd be kind of hard if you slipped and fell. You could catch yourself before you actually fell down there. Not if panic set in and you scream like a little girl.
Toxic gases and radioactive
heck
elements could have
no.
also caused serious health issues down the line, if not immediately. Fortunately, they somehow managed to avoid all of these dangers and make their way fairly deep into the mine. But then they came across something that could have ended all of their lives in one fell swoop.
Got them pipes. Oh wow. We have to
Oh
climb
my,
that.
you can't be serious, bruh.
This is going to America's Funniest when somebody falls.
That's a good idea.
How would that be America's
Alrighty.
funniest?
Oh, that table. Don't touch that. The ropes.
While crossing a sketchy section of the mine, one of the boys noticed a rope dangling down from one of the wooden beams and immediately became curious about whatever was
Oh
down there.
my.
Down to the main shaft.
Wow. So we're climbing down this rope.
Yeah. How far
Why?
down?
How are we getting out of it?
Climbing up it.
I see.
They had little rope climbing experience between them. However, they didn't let that stop them from accomplishing
Okay. I know this was some ugly footage. This mess is I mean 1988 or what was that? I think it was like 1988. So it's bad quality. But just by the looks of it, that rope could possibly be strong enough to go down. Coming back up, on the other hand, I don't know, bruh. Not only that, but the wood that it's wrapped around, that's definitely not gonna like hold, like going down and then coming back up. Nah. You got it, bruh.
Their desires. The guy named Adam decided
You
to
got
be
it,
the first
bruh.
one to descend,
You got it, bruh.
resulting in this.
How far down does it go?
All the way down to that ladder. You were straight down. Like a good 30 feet.
Or am I gonna hook this?
30 feet.
I am. About 600 feet. You don't like to break out.
Please. Please, dear God.
Put it like he's doing it in your mouth. Yeah, it's all like this. Is it off now?
You can't be serious.
How am I gonna get the thing down there? Yeah, but how am I gonna get back up? I don't have.
Hey, good. Give you my belt. Strap on. Adam! Oh! Adam! Oh! Adam! Yes. Adam! Oh God. Oh God, somebody help me. Adam!
The rope Adam chose to
Bruh.
trust was completely worn and gave way shortly after putting his weight on it. This caused him to plunge 65 feet down a dark mine shaft and lose consciousness.
65 feet. And lost consciousness. Okay.
Luckily, none of the damage he took on his way down was immediately lethal. He was still breathing. His friends were able to find an exit and contact the authorities, who eventually rescued Adam after an hours-long rescue mission.
Thank God.
Ultimately, them escaping the mine without any casualties was nothing short of a miracle. The mine shaft could have easily been over 100 feet deep. Or
Right.
Adam could have just as easily hit his head on the surrounding wall. Both of these scenarios would have resulted in his death. What's even worse is that the whole group could have gotten stranded in the shaft if the rope broke when the last person was going down.
Right.
With no way to contact the outside world, the group would have likely died of starvation. Fortunately, they were able to walk away from this terrifying experience with just a few broken bones along with cuts and scratches.
Jesus, man.
On the 25th of February 2022, the Perea Fuel Company hired maintenance workers to reopen one of the underwater pipes connecting their oil unloading dock and refinery. The
Okay.
operation team included 5 men: Christopher, Kazim, Yusuf, Rishi, and Faisal.
Okay.
They were going to use a pressurized habitat to inspect the pipe and make any necessary repairs. However, shortly after entering this habitat, all 5 men disappeared from the work site, leaving those on the surface to wonder what could have happened.
Oh
It wasn't
my.
until rescuers found footage from
Oh,
a GoPro
heck
mounted to
no.
one of the divers' suits that the full truth came to light. The footage showed the men struggling to open the valve keeping the pipe shut, prompting Kazim to go get a wrench. He returned to the habitat and handed the wrench over to his co-workers.
Okay.
But then, a few seconds later, this happened.
What's happening? Wait, what's happening?
The moment the valve was opened, its low pressure created a powerful vacuum. Water rushed into the habitat, while the pressurized air violently forced everyone into the pipe. All 5 of the men were forced into the 30-inch wide pipe, faster than they could blink. After tumbling through the metal pipe at violent speeds for a minute and a half, they came to a stop at a section containing a small air pocket, just enough to keep them alive, allowing them a brief moment to find their bearings and assess the gravity of their situation.
This just keeps getting worse and worse. I'm pretty speechless throughout all of this. I'm not gonna lie to you. This one is pretty bad. I mean, they're all pretty bad. But this one? Yeah, I'm speechless. Oh
All of them were
my.
barely breathing, and one of them had also injured his leg. And while the air pocket was keeping them alive for the moment, it wasn't going to last very long. So, with no other option, the two men at the front, Christopher and Faisal, started moving forward in hopes of reaching the pipe's end and getting help for the other three. But after making their way through several flooded sections, Faisal lost hope and refused to go any further.
What?
This left Christopher to continue alone and ultimately reach the end of the pipe, where he was eventually pulled out by rescuers. Unfortunately, the same did not happen for his four co-workers. Days passed, and the rescue efforts were slim to none, eventually leaving the other four to die in that cramped metal tube. The company's CEO later defended this decision, stating that a rescue mission would have only endangered more lives. The incident sparked widespread outrage and even forced the regional government to launch an inquiry into how such a disaster was allowed to happen in the first place. But, as is the case with countless similar incidents, nothing much came of it, despite the numerous hearings. The other four divers were left for dead. That said, the Trinidad government did announce a compensation of $1 million for each of their families.
Man, I don't know. There's just some things you can't replace with money and then be like, okay, here, forget about it. Here's your $1 million. That is insane, bro. That is actually very insane.
As well as Christopher in April 2025.
Dang, bro.
On April 28, 2000, 22-year-old Russian diving instructor Yuri Lipsky decided to reach the depths of the Blue Hole in Dahab, Egypt. This was a risky plan from the get-go, since the Blue Hole is widely regarded as the deadliest diving site in the world, with as many as 200 fatalities in recent years. To make matters worse,
200, bruh? 200?
before his dive, Yuri asked a local technical diver to accompany him on his journey. All of them rejected him, since the preparations for this risky of a dive took as long as a week. Yet Yuri wanted to go in just 2 days, no matter what. Even after every instructor refused to support his plan, instead of backing out, Yuri made the worst mistake of his life and chose to go through with it alone. He started the dive around noon and quickly disappeared into the depths of the ocean. However, many hours passed and there was no sign of Yuri anywhere. His concerned mother enlisted the help of a local technical diver named Tariq Omar, who immediately set out to rescue her son. Unfortunately, by the time he found Yuri, it was already too late. Tariq...
But like, why? They told you it's gonna take like a week or two, and you do it in 2 days. I don't know. I don't know what goes through people's heads. Cause it's like, why? Why did you want to do this so freaking badly in 2 days? When you were literally warned. I don't know.
discovered Yuri's lifeless body floating near the floor of the Blue Hole. The next day, he returned with the necessary equipment to bring Yuri's body back to the surface and got to work. But as he was about to take Yuri back, he noticed that Yuri's diving camera was lying nearby. So he grabbed that as well and began ascending. This camera had captured the final moments of Yuri in haunting detail.
Oh my god, bruh.
The dive started like any other, with Yuri swimming alongside many other divers. However, it wasn't long before everyone else faded from view as he started to descend deeper into the blue hole. And that's when all the worst possible things started happening in rapid succession. It started with him failing to keep his gas levels under check, resulting in him getting nitrogen poisoning and becoming extremely disoriented. By the time he realized his situation, he was already sinking like a rock. He started panicking and began inflating his buoyancy control device quickly to avoid sinking any further. Tragically, this backfired. The buoyancy control device bursted due to the rapidly increasing pressure, leaving Yuri no way of safely returning to the surface.
Oh my god, bro.
The increasing depth exacerbates the symptoms of nitrogen poisoning as well, and it wasn't long before his camera captured the horrific sounds of him struggling to breathe, ending with him sinking to the 377 feet or 115 meters deep sea floor and passing away. The only silver lining in this whole situation is that there's a good chance the found footage helped at least one diver avoid a similar fate by learning from the mistakes that cost Yuri his life.
Yeah. Yeah, you know. This was brutal. This was very brutal. From the start of the video to the end of it. Yeah, this was very disturbing. Wow. Well, let's turn to some more still scary, but more lighthearted videos. I don't know, bro. Yeah, let's go to the back rooms. Alright, we got back rooms first contact. Let's see what this is about. Test number 6. What in the Umbrella Corporation is going on here? Oh, what the heck? What is going on here? What's happening? This is about to be like a Kamehameha. Like, what the heck, bruh? Oh, heck no. What is happening here, bro? Oh my god, that is bright. Jesus Christ, turn it off, shut it down now. Bro, if there's something there, that's the exact reason to shut it off. What? Oh, nah. Oh, nah. If I'm a worker and I see this, if I'm a worker there and I see this, well, okay, that's kind of hard because they don't know what this is. And obviously this is going to intrigue them. Me knowing what it is, I'd be like, nah, I'm out. I'm out. But since this is new to them, obviously they're going to be curious. Nope. So I'm guessing that this is an origin story of them discovering the back rooms. That's what I'm assuming. Because I don't think they created this. I think they just discovered this. On to the next one. Nicholas Bolton. Margaret Watson. Reward? What the heck? Did they all end up in the back rooms or something? Or what's going on here? Reported missing cases or something like that. Oh my lord. Okay. So did they get like teleported or transferred into the... Oh, here we go. What the heck, yo? This is kind of crazy because I've played many Backrooms games. So like, what happened to the kid in the first one? Is he like straight up like done? Or just following like this crew now?
I don't know. I've never seen this before. It may just be part of the environment.
What?
But it makes no sense. Why would you identify completely?
Who the heck is that?
This makes no sense.
Is that the Terminator?
This wasn't in the last report. No, this is definitely new.
Who is that? Hold on, is that like one of their one of the workers? That's definitely not the kid.
Some kind of fungus.
Okay. I'm definitely delving into more questions for sure. Because he said it wasn't in the report, so they've been there before. But they don't recognize homie. That's definitely not the kid. I don't think. I don't know, bruh, but yeah. This has been insane. From the disturbing videos to the back rooms, this has been very insane. But as usual, I hope you enjoyed. Give it a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you want to see more. And until next time, much love, much respect, and peace. Stay spooky, my friends.